20 weird ways to use items in Minecraft. Items are the lifeblood of Minecraft, but while there is so much that you can do with their intentional uses, plenty of these can work in some pretty wild ways. In that case, let's dive right into the wacky and use some of our items in some strangely useful methods. And hey, the YouTube judge bets me that you can't subscribe to the channel with your eyes closed. So, to prove them wrong, take a blind guess at that sub button down below. It's free and it helps out a ton. Number 1. If you've ever cared for a plant, then you know that these suckers need a ton of light. But apparently, we can use that to our advantage. We can actually use this for a system that can automatically harvest crops when the lights go off. You see, the way that this works is that the game requires a certain amount of light level for the crops to be planted. So if we just switch off the redstone lamp, bam, everything is harvested in an instant. And then, since farmland isn't a full block, we can just have a set of hoppers underneath and collect the stuff just like that. Sure, this does share a lot of similarities to water-based systems, and while it might not be a full replacement, you have to admit, it looks pretty cool in action. Number 2, if you want to be a pro at Minecraft, then you gotta be able to MLG clutch. But if your reaction time's like mine, then that's disconcerting. It's just not gonna happen. So a simpler option for us slowpokes is to use chorus fruit instead. Strangely enough, the random teleport feature is actually predictable, or at least predictable enough for us to use. The way it works, it will always teleport you to solid ground. So if you're in midair off of Shulker's levitation effect, then you can just chomp on one of these and be teleported right back to safety. And look, I'm not gonna lie, it maybe doesn't look as cool as a water bucket save, but being able to survive a deadly fall, I think that's good enough for me. Number 3, nobody likes waiting. Whether it's waiting in line, waiting for files to download, or a video to buffer, nobody likes their time wasted. Which largely makes nether portals a pain to deal with. In survival mode, not only do you have to wait for the whole sickness animation to play out, but then you've also got to let an entire other dimension load on the other side. It's not exactly speedy, to say the least. But if you've got some items, we might be able to cut that down. You see, by using nether portal chunk loading, all it takes is throwing an item to the other side, and then all of a sudden, it'll do all of the loading for you. So going forward, maybe take the time to hit the Q key. Might just save you some down the road. Number 4, I think every kid's wanted to be a spy at some point. I mean, why else would there be so many different spy items available at book fairs? It's supply and demand, folks. So while I'm not saying you'll become a full James Bond in Minecraft, this might at least put you one step closer. Secret messages are a classic bit of spy technology, but even when you use the message command, that isn't always secure. So if that's the case, let's turn to invisible ink, otherwise known as nether hyphae. Now, laid out on the ground, these don't look like much, but give your friend a map, and now it's a hidden message. No matter where you go in the world, you've got yourself a private messaging app, and better yet, the server mods will be none the wiser. Number 5. I think we all can agree the channeling enchantment's pretty great. For one, not only is it fun to summon lightning like your last name is Odinson, but that very lightning allows you to change and manipulate different mobs. So when you're fed up of typical mushrooms and you're looking for a change, well, bam. It's great, but obviously all that lightning can get pretty dangerous. So if you're trying to do your magic without all the pain of electrocution, maybe try this. You see, by placing down an item frame, all you have to do is zap that and the job gets done the same way. Except this time, no one's getting hurt in the process. Which is nice, because really, there's no point in converting a corpse. Number 6. Who doesn't love roller coasters? No one I want to hang around with, that's for sure. And it's because of this mutual love of roller coasters that I'm sure we've all tried to set up a thrill ride once or twice. But the real test is what your friends think. Though it's pretty boring to just set them off and wait till they get back. So, to make that journey a bit more inclusive, why not upgrade your ride? You see, since minecarts can pick up entities, and boats happen to be entities, you can essentially make a 2-person cedar minecart to ride the rails. So not only do you get a goofy ride to go around in, but you can also build up some surprising propulsion by rowing the boat, which I think we all can agree are pretty great things. Number 7. Redstone timers can be a bit complex to build, and while sure there are comparably simpler options like hopper clocks and such, if you're really looking to make a no-brainer redstone clock, then this is your candidate. As you'll see, our solution here is gravity, and a violation of the Geneva Convention. By having a mob stand on top of some turtle eggs, there's a set amount of time before they crack. So given that, there is a theory that you could form some kind of timer using turtle eggs. Is it immoral? I guess it doesn't seem the nicest, but if you're really looking for a timer that's light on redstone, this does do the trick. So maybe just keep this behind closed doors and don't let your visitors know how the sausage gets made, alright? Number 8. In Minecraft, it's often easy to accumulate your fair share of junk. And while throwing that stuff into a fire is a fun pastime, what if you really want to get rid of something? Like, say through some chance you came across a particularly cheaty piece of netherite. Well, if you don't have a cactus on hand, then there is one option that we tend to neglect. Items are entities, just like you and me. And that means that these things have a kill switch. So if you take an anvil sky high and drop it on a thing of items, it'll delete the stuff stuff from existence. It's almost like we're creating our own kind of item execution system. But if you really want to get rid of your friend's diamonds, then this will do the trick and then some. Number 9. The new nether stem blocks are a great addition, except for when you're trying to smelt something. Unlike regular logs, these can't be used as fuel in a furnace. They don't burn to a flint and steel, so why should a furnace be any different? But this intentional piece of game design might just have an unintentional workaround. If instead you take those logs out of the furnace and into a crafting grid, then we can craft them into sticks, which by themselves would work as a fuel source, but we can actually do one better. Folks, by crafting those very sticks into ladders, now we're actually getting the best bang for our buck when it comes to smelting, which I've gotta say is a big improvement when the alternative was not smelting anything at all. Number 10. Sometimes you don't have the heart to say something to someone's face, but that doesn't have to keep you from sending the message. In fact, the upcoming 1.17 update might just have a solution for you silent schemers. By just waxing particular parts of their copper wall, then you guarantee that eventually they're gonna get the message, which clearly could lead to some pretty innovative prank ideas, and I'm sure that your brain's already lit up with all the different designs to leave at your friend's base. So while I don't exactly endorse writing mean things for your friends to find, I can't doubt its efficacy. Meaning if you've got the honeycomb on hand, this might just pave the way for your perfect crime, or at the very least, a perfect punchline. Number 11. Redstone is one of my favorite parts of Minecraft, but the circuitry isn't exactly a looker. Now, that doesn't discount its personality. I'm sure what's on the inside counts, but to our builder friends, it's all about outward appearances. So in that case, how about we find ourselves a happy middle ground? I wasn't aware of this until recently, but you can actually throw down item frames atop a redstone dust, meaning if you add in a colored map of your choice, then you can effectively cover up your tracks. Now obviously, if you're using a bunch of these item frame and map combos, I do have to warn of some potential lag. But if you got yourself a beefy computer, then I'd be hard pressed to say this isn't worth a shot. Number 12. Villagers can be a great asset in your Minecraft world, but regardless of how respectable they are with emeralds, these fellas are not the most commendable when it comes to the overworld. And even though their AI is a lot more similar to sheep than Steve, they're nowhere near as easy to corral. So if you two are looking for a trading hall that doesn't have to turn into a kangaroo market, this might be the time to sweeten the deal. Honey blocks, as I'm sure you know, are great for keeping different mobs and entities stuck in place. So the next time that you build a villager's desk, maybe just tuck one of these under the floor mat. That way they won't be able to jump out of dodge, and you'll be able to keep them still for the entire shift. Number 13. When you're idling at a farm in Minecraft, there's not a lot to do. I mean, most of us would just go off and do something away from the screen, but if that's out of the question for you, then we'll have to find some other way to be productive. Now to start, get out a book and quill. And no, this isn't to take notes or anything, that book's actually our project. You see, the way that Minecraft scrolls through different pages, it's actually possible, in some weird way, to make flipbook animations in the game. Is it limited? Sure, but remember, someone remade Star Wars in ASCII art, so the possibility is pretty high. So if you're gonna be killing the time anyway, then you might as well make yourself a magnum opus. Number 14. I think we've all known that one person who learns how to MLG water bucket and then uses it non-stop. Like, I get it, it's a practical skill, but I don't understand using it to get down from a 4-block drop. So alright, if we're both fed up with it, then why don't we teach them a little lesson? But the question we'll have to solve is, how do you stop water? Because really, unless you're in the nether, there are not many ways to stop a water bucket. Unless we take it up a step, by using this upside down step. Since half slabs can be waterlogged, when they try and land, they'll be greeted to their bucket emptying and no prayer of a clutch save, leaving you victorious and them totally confused about what just happened. Number 15. TNT duplication machines are a great thing, but they are a glitch, meaning that eventually Mojang plans to remove them. And when that happens, it's going to be a lot harder to explode things in the overworld. But there might just be a new avenue to future-proof our big banging bombs. While a lack of legitimate sand farms makes it tough to get renewable TNT, respawn anchors are a different story. Yeah, thanks to piglin bartering and witch farms, they're farmable, albeit a little complicated. But the trade-off for that hard work is a much larger explosion. So whether you're trying to excavate a mountain or take care of one of your enemies on the server, these might just be your next demolition dream. Number 16. This is one of the classic blunders of Minecraft. You boot up Skyblock, break down the first tree, and now it's time to make a cobblestone generator. Or it would be if you didn't just turn the lava into obsidian. But lucky for you, there is a way around that. With the advent of waterlogged stairs, now we don't have to worry about our water flowing all over the place. Just place it like such, pour down a bucket, and now you've got a fully functional cobblestone generator. And might I add, it even takes up a smaller footprint in the world. And don't worry, since it's filled up with water, you don't have to worry about the stair catching on fire. As far as I can see, it's all upsides, folks, and it's definitely the method I think you should choose use in the future. Number 17. When you're heading away for a long trip in the Nether, it's always a good idea to pack yourself a snack. This time, I'm actually asking you to go vegetarian, or dandelions to be more specific. You gotta eat a flower. Now look, I get that these don't seem the most appetizing out the gate, but they'll actually make a surprisingly handy ingredient, because while you've been going around making different mushroom stews to fill up in the Nether, you could have just added this ingredient and way buffed up the beverage. Since flower type can determine the effect of suspicious stew, using dandelions actually gives you some pretty solid saturation. So if you're gonna make the bowls anyway, then why not just bring along the special spice and make all of it worth it. Number 18. Plants can really liven up a Minecraft build, which is why you'll see plenty of different pro builders using this in their base. But while the shrubs and stuff definitely add to the aesthetic, they're not exactly cooperative. And trust me, it's gonna be quite the pain just having to plant and replant this one thing just to get it to the right height. So if you're tired of your crops getting a bit too big for their britches, then don't sweat it. There's actually a way to tie this together. By placing string along the top of certain plants, then you can actually make sure that they stay at that height for the rest of history. No joke, all you need is one piece of thread and it works like an Everstone. All evolution stops dead in its tracks, and you don't have to worry about it any other way. Number 19. Anyone who's ever tried to build something organic knows that it's very tough to get builds to look natural. Or as natural as they could look in a game made out of blocks, I guess. But for a thought experiment, say that you want to build an island in a creative world. How do you go about it? Well, if you're like me, then you're looking for the easy way out. And in that case, I'd like to delegate this job to our good friends Grass and Mycelium. Set up both of these on a plain dirt canvas, and essentially you can watch a Splatoon turf war take place in real time. And then, after the battle is done, just replace the mycelium with water, and like that, you've got a fully formed island. Or, at the very least, a very solid foundation that you can build off of. Number 20. Endermen aren't always the easiest to kill. And while their teleporting might be fine in a desert or a plains biome, when you're fighting them in the end, the last thing you want is to get sneak attacked. So, to cut their magic show short, all we need is 5 planks and a plan. After we craft a boat, all we need to do is place that right down next to an enderman, and that sucker will be locked right into place. No joke, as long as you don't break the boat, you're free to slice, dice, and slay the foe with no hassle to you. I mean, they do still have pretty massive arms, so I wouldn't recommend getting too close to the bash zone, but as long as you keep you and your axe out of harm's way, then I think you'll find this works pretty well. And with that, folks, trap that red sub button down below, and have a good one, alright?